First on the tape this week from our own Ken Silva, we have a scoop about two people who are being charged for helping alleged attempted would-be Trump assassin Ryan Routh. Pictured here with his signature pose, the Manchurian. The DOJ has charged Tina Brown Cooper and Ronnie J. Oxendine of North Carolina back in March, but oddly never publicized their cases. Headline USA's Ken Silva was able to break this story this past week. According to court records, neither Cooper nor Oxendine were aware of Routh's plot to assassinate then-candidate Donald Trump, but last July, Routh called Cooper, a former employee at his roofing business, about procuring a rifle. This is why you don't do favors, folks. Again, according to record, Cooper tried recommending to Routh to pick up the firearm from a pawn shop, but Routh reminded Cooper that he could not purchase a firearm, as he, Routh, is a convicted felon. Cooper then agreed to help Routh acquire one. Cooper reached out to her new boss, Oxendine, who originally didn't know Cooper was making a straw purchase for Routh. Oxendine was familiar with Routh, but hadn't seen him in over a decade and thought that Routh was living in Hawaii. Talk about an aloha. Cooper showed up to meet Oxendine with her daughter. I mean, who doesn't bring their kid to commit a federal crime? And she brought Routh. And when Oxendine asked why Routh was there, she replied that the SKS rifle she was there to purchase was for Routh. Oxendine proceeded with the sale of the rifle for $350, of which Routh paid him, and then Routh paid Cooper $100 for the arrangement, both in cash. Short-term gain, long-term loss there, guys. Oxendine even asked Cooper why she didn't tell him that the rifle was for Routh. And Cooper responded saying she thought he would have an issue with Routh having a firearm. Well, I guess not for $350. Later on in the same day, Routh asked Cooper to inquire about the location of the rifle's serial numbers, allegedly so he could obliterate them. Last month, Cooper struck a deal after originally attempting to conceal her link to the purchase, but pled guilty after agents showed her text messages from Oxendine on September 19th of last year, letting her know that he was visited by the FBI, and of Cooper telling him not to admit to anything. Did they really just leave those sitting on their devices? Oxendine, who is not a U.S. citizen but is somehow still around, also pled guilty to a charge of possessing an unregistered firearm because agents found a sawed-off shotgun at his business. Sentencing will begin for Cooper and Oxendine in October, while Routh is set to go to trial in September, but after asking the court to dismiss his attorneys, that may be delayed. Why do you think the DOJ never publicized this story? Leave a comment under this video on X, and make sure to follow Headline USA. Next, we have another story from Ken Silva about how a U.S. senator referred an Epstein client to the DOJ. And if you follow this series, you probably know what happened next. Yep, as it turns out, the referral from Oregon's Ron Wyden, a Democrat, that provided actionable information about Epstein's relationship with a prominent billionaire and an untold number of Wall Street banks, resulted in nothing happening. Shocker. And the billionaire Wyden's referring to could be former Apollo Global CEO Leon Black. Black paid Epstein $158 million between 2012 and 2017 for advice on several tax and estate planning matters. Wyden wrote Black in 2023, suggesting that Black may have engaged in tax evasion with Epstein, dropping the $158 million in payments previously mentioned here. Wyden also mentioned a committee is seeking information on Epstein's participation in structuring trusts and other complex transactions that may have been designed to avoid federal gift and estate taxes on as much as $2 billion in wealth transferred to Black's children. Wyden's investigation has revealed that Epstein may have helped Black avoid more than $1 billion in federal taxes. Somehow, though, the IRS has not audited any of Black's trusts or transactions subject to the probe. Black has reportedly not been cooperative with the congressional probe, and it's unclear if he has ever responded to Senator Wyden. Wyden, who is seeking a copy of a written service agreement between Epstein and Black, which, if it exists, Headline USA will be first in line to publish it. Do you think someone like Leon Black will ever face any justice for the crimes being investigated by Senator Wyden and the congressional probe? Leave your answer in the comments section underneath this video on YouTube, and make sure to subscribe. Following that, we have a story from Headline USA's Jose Nino, who writes about the ADL's condemnation of what's described as a pro-white return to the land project in Arkansas. The Anti-Defamation League, that strangely only defends one particular group from defamation, is up in arms over a whites-only community. I wonder if they would defend a Jewish-only community that was being attacked by powerful whites for a potential of spreading nationwide. Why the ADL has any right or power to interfere with a community's right to self-determination is anyone's guess, but right now, YouTuber Eric Orwell and former farm worker Peter Cesare's 160-acre parallel society for white Europeans, a group the two argue is under threat from immigration and globalization, is in the ADL's crosshairs. This desire for a separate but equal society for European whites has been labeled by the ADL Center for Extremism as one of the most established white supremacist residential communities in the United States today. Wow, that might look real nice on a sales brochure for some, but where did this supremacist thing come from? And who supremely gets to determine these things? Like in what was described in the Cold War as a strategy of containment to go along with the Red Scare, the ADL's Morgan Moon is really worried that similar separatist communities could be replicated elsewhere around the country. And I would ask, what's it to you, Miss Moon? What gives you and your organization a right to say how anyone lives? Or Wall said about his community in a YouTube video that this is actually a path to power. And man, that's probably the real issue. Because the word power can come before Black, Jewish, migrant, but not white. Yeesh. Also along for the outrage ride, though, are the Council on American Islamic Relations, who are backing all of their Jewish and friends of color to have access to someone else's community. Isn't that cute? Aside from the race stuff, one might want to look at the structure of this community that consists of tiny homes, tents, and outhouses on undeveloped land. It's an off-grid community relying on well water, growing its own food, and schooling its own children. Maybe that's the problem. Leave your thoughts about this article in the comments section on HeadlineUSA.com. Last this week, we have an article from Headline USA's Louis Cornelio, who wrote about a county jail that confirmed that Democrat officials were jailed for a ballot harvesting scheme. More than a dozen people, some of them top former Democratic officials, have been indicted in a ballot harvesting scheme targeting Hispanic voters in Texas. Texas state prosecutors allege that the operation consisted of collecting signed mail-in ballots and delivering them to polling locations. This is a violation of Texas law, which is strict on ballot harvesting. Confirmed in a phone interview with the Frio County Jail, most of the individuals were booked between July 2nd and July 3rd. Gee, I hope they all had a lovely 4th. An attorney for former Texas House candidate Cecilia Castellano. Oh, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart, claims that this is all just politically motivated, although there's no evidence there to support that claim. These arrests follow 6 other indictments in the same plot earlier this year. I really hope this isn't a widespread problem in our elections, folks. To have more stories like this sent directly to your email's inbox, subscribe to Headline USA. Come back next week to see what makes the tape.